It's not that people are telling you that you're uneducated. It's more of how silly your opinion come off at times. It's quite a few people. Well, that's true. I do tend to have a way of saying my words, and I do agree with that. But it's just how I talk. I necessarily don't like try to be condescending about it or anything, but it's just the way I talk about things. And it's more of I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. It's just the way I talk. Because I really do try to not, I guess, not sound like a dick, but I end up sounding like a dick because it's just the way I talk about things, I guess. But that's why I normally don't like talking about most things because I end up sounding like a dick when I don't. So it's more of I just be like, whatever, I don't know what to say. I mean, for the most part, most people get what I'm saying, so I'm like, okay, I guess I don't know. I don't know until how bad it will be until I actually talk to someone about it and then they tell me um, how if it comes off bad to them or anything. I mean, I'm not out here trying to like tell someone they can't um, say anything. I'm always open for people's to talk to me about things. It's just like I just want to talk about it. I mean, I don't necessarily try to like go out of my way to demean or be condescending. It seems you're. It seems as if you're not giving the women in the FGC that they're already on the top credit, except for Tanakana when you were shitting on safe spaces. That's what it seems like to me. You may not have been, but it seems like it. Well, like I said in that video, I said that it was during a time that I was still new to the FGC, so I actually only knew about Tanakana at that time. But then as more and more I learned about it, I learned about all the other girls. And while I mean there are a lot of females that compete, I still agree with what I said about there's not a lot of females on the top. And yeah, having safe spaces are nice, but let's be honest, the if you're in a space where it's competitive, it is going to be toxic. It's not always going to be friendly. I mean, I like the idea of having a safe space, but there is a time when you actually have to come out of said safe space and interact with the community. I mean, you can have your bubble and everything, and that's good. I mean, if it's something where if girls or whoever can necessarily have a space where they can practice, that's good. I am totally for that. What I'm saying is, once you want to actually compete, and I'm just gonna stick with the whole FGC for this. But if you're gonna want to actually compete with other people, then you're going to have to actually step out of that space and interact with people. And people are all different. So it's not necessarily where it's going to be people are going to be it's not going to be the same where people in that space are the same at, like, if you're in your space and then you go outside and then you realize, wow, people aren't like this. It's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what you do. At the wait, what's that bird shit? At the time of the video, Cuddle and Kawaii had already won E-League, and I wrote about it. Yeah, I had still, because I still agreed with majority of what I said in that video. Safe spaces aren't just for toxicity. Some women have been through things in the FGC, and spaces provide them with comfort. And yeah, like, I do agree with that they need safe spaces for that. But I'm just saying, like, you can have your safe space, but there will be a time when you have to go out of said safe space, unless you can make your own tournaments, which is good too. There's nothing wrong with that either. But you know, it's just gonna be like you can stay in that space, but it's just like there will be a time when you have to like go out there. And I'm not saying that people who necessarily have been an asshole or whatever shouldn't be brought to light. Of course they should be. But it's just like it's weird because it's just a position where it's just like somebody might be an asshole to somebody, but somebody might not be an asshole to someone body else. It's more of like like someone's probably like just rough around the edges. So there's different types of people. I'm not saying about coddling anyone. I'm saying if people need a space where they need to um, necessarily need a space where they can come back to and feel comfortable doing something they love, then yeah, they can have it. But there will be a time when they actually have to step out of that comfort zone and actually get out of their bubble or whatever, and deal with the rest of the community. Because like I said, even if everyone is nice, at the end of the day it's still a competitive sport. So you can be as nice as possible, but it's just like, you know, how nice can you be? Because then if everyone is nice and everyone can express themselves, then it turns into a way where it's just like this, you know, it's just like, where does it end? Where it's just like, can I be myself, or am I just, you know? So I don't know. I'm just saying that there are women who won't go to locals or majors because of the way men treat them. It's been that bad. Yeah, I have a friend who doesn't want to go to majors and stuff because of men that they because of not because of men in the FGC. Is more of they're necessarily scared of being around guys and stuff. But I told them, like, I can only speak from my point of view, and I guess my point of view doesn't really align with most people, but like I said, I never really necessarily had a bad experience in terms of guys. Yeah, you know, the most times I had a toxic experience with men in the FGC is mostly on like online, because one, they don't know that you're a girl or whatever, and you know, it's online. People are just going to be assholes, whether you're a female or a male or whatever. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter if you're a female, a male, you know, anything. You're just going to have to deal with people being mean. It's just the way it is. But for the most part, most of the guys I've met in the FGC are genuinely nice. I have not had one bad experience. I mean, sure, there's people who are like assholes, but you know, it's just they're an asshole. But it's just like, you know, like I said, some people are just rough around the edges, and once you get to know them, you're like, yeah, they're not so bad. But you know, there are people who are like legit did things where, you know, they're assaulting or like other people, and you know, that is a part of that is something that needs to be dealt with, of course, you know. It should be dealt with appropriately, but it's more of a, I would say it is more of a loud minority. I don't feel like most people, if anything, are like that in the FGC, and I guess you're not saying that either. And I feel like most people, if they see something like that happening, especially to a female, they would gladly, you know, I guess beat up a person for that. If anything, most people in the FGC, it is a pretty tight-knit community, so if someone is saying something, no matter the race or whatever, I feel like it will be brought to light and people will deal with it accordingly. I don't think that majority of people in the FGC would allow something like that to happen. But I mean, I'm still talking out of naivety because I'm still new. Some have been groped and raped, talking down upon, beaten by men. Doesn't help that some of these tourneys are held in bars. I mean, I feel like I said with the whole people being groped and stuff. Those people should be, be brought to the light. They should be dealt with accordingly. I mean, there's nothing really I can really say about being in a bar because when you're in a bar, there's alcohol and people are intoxicated. So people. It's a tough position when it's like that because it's just like in a bar environment there is it is not to say that people necessarily grope or stuff, but people are under the influence, so they might say something that they probably necessarily wouldn't they didn't really necessarily mean to say. It's just like they're under the influence, and that's not necessarily a reason to an excuse or anything, but it is something that happens in a bar. It is something that happens, and it's just like more of how are you gonna deal with it. I mean, you can tell the bartender, you can tell the bouncer, or whatever. I mean, I don't think any. Yeah, I don't think if a female is in a bar and she feels necessarily uncomfortable, I don't think majority of guys would let a another guy just do whatever he pleases. I don't see it happening. I mean, I can still be wrong about that too, but I just never. I don't think for the most part, majority of anybody, even me, if I was in a bar and I saw a female being groped, I would totally kick somebody's ass for that. So I mean, it's a tough position, but I mean, like that's just like a scenario. I mean, there's so many scenarios you can make up, like anybody can be groped, or guys can get groped. It's just like it's it's a tough position. I mean, most people in the FGC do some type of drug, let's be honest, so I don't know, man. It's just like I don't know. It's just like we're all adults, and it's like if you can't, I feel like if it's something where you can't necessarily handle yourself, then maybe you should not be around other people. And if like I said, if people are, if someone is trying to necessarily be make someone else uncomfortable, be it female or male, I feel like majority of people will disavow that person. So I don't know. It's just a tough position to be in. There will be people that mind their business. I mean, yeah, they will be, but that's also what the cops are for. I mean, if someone is groping you, I mean, you can call the cops also. You don't necessarily need the patrons in the bar to, or wherever the said places to deal with it. It's just something that happens, and it sucks. It really does suck, but it's just like I don't feel like anyone would allow someone to just do something like that. And if they do, then that's really fucked up. It really is. That's all I can say, and I just hope that that person is brought to the light and they're dealt with accordingly. And if people in the said bar or wherever don't necessarily want to deal with it, then that's what the cops are for. Where the fuck do I go actually? Let me see something. I think there's like a switch or something I have to open. I've never been in a I mean, there's never been a real position where I felt unsafe. Especially in a bar, and I've been to like, I've been to a few bars. I mean, yeah, I've been to like Mash Fest and everything, and everyone at Mash Fest is pretty nice. I never had a bad situation in any of these bars that have um fighting game things. I mean, I don't necessarily even go to locals anymore because I don't even have money to go. But I can only speak for myself, and that's about it, I guess. I mean, if a female is, if a female is been groped or assaulted or sexually assaulted and I hear about it, of course I'm going to be like, you should call the cops or something like that. I necessarily wouldn't just I wouldn't want anyone to necessarily feel uncomfortable, because even though I feel like majority of people who come into the FGC are necessarily it has all walks of kind, but I feel like majority of the people who are in the FGC care about people. For what it seems, I don't see anybody necessarily being a bad apple. And I don't know, it's just like, I don't know. That's all I can say about that. At least I know where to go now. We're close to the end. You can't tell a victim to go to the cops when they've been violated and really feel uneasy about what just happened to them. I mean, they don't have to necessarily go to the cops as soon as they've been violated, but I feel like if they want this person to necessarily have charges against them, then I'm sorry, but that's something you're going to have to get past. I hate to say it, but it is something you're going to have to get past, because if you don't stop this guy from assaulting someone, then the person's just going to do it again. So in a way, if you don't actually do your due diligence to actually go to the cops and tell about this person, then that person said gets away with it, and they in turns allow more assaults to happen. So even I could understand the whole idea of feeling uneasy about it, and that does suck, but if you think of it more of like, if doing this will help other females who necessarily couldn't speak up, or females in the future, to help them not get assault. I mean, it sucks that you was assaulted, of course, but if you can in terms stop the assaults from happening, then that's even better, because that means there will be less assholes around. He'll be dealt with accordingly. That's what the cops are for. They're there to deal with people, I guess. It would make them extremely depressed. Honestly, Danielle, it is right cause for you. It is a right cause if you don't say anything. If it is, honestly, Danielle, it is right cause if you don't say anything, nothing happens to them. But it's hard for people. Oh, I can't even read. It's hard, but people should take pride in preventing others from getting attacked. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Oh yeah, honestly, I see what you mean. Honestly, Danielle's right. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I can't fucking read. Yeah, I just like, that's how I feel about it. Like, even if I was assaulted, of course it sucks, because you gotta do the whole kit and everything. But if I know I can put this fucking bitch away and rot in hell, then of course I will do it. If it's me standing up against him and putting his ass away and making sure other females don't get fucking harmed, then of course I'm gonna do it. I will fucking gladly do it. I'm not gonna sit here and just let someone get away with some shit like that. No way, Jose. And if I have to like deal with him myself, I will. But I'm not for the whole idea of females getting assaulted. I don't want anybody getting assaulted, male or female. Everyone. I'm actually just really tired this whole fucking not going to the cops mentality, just going to the social media and talking about it. Like, I'm sorry, but I really fucking hate that, and I just hate that all these assaults just go on fucking unreported because people just go to the social media. It's just like, go to the fucking cops. What are you doing? I don't know.